Hello everyone in TV land. My name is Dakota Stillery and my mini teach session is on John Roberts. 10 interesting facts about this Supreme Court Justice are that he was born in January 27, 1995 in Buffalo. He had later moved to Long Beach with his parents and 3 sisters, where his father managed a Bethlehem steel mill, where Mr. Roberts had also worked there during his high school career to help out with college. He had attended an all-male Catholic high school and excelled in Latin. He was reported to reach the point to translate Ennead, I believe, on par with his teacher. During high school, he played football as well as wrestled, and he also played Peppermint Patty in his boys' high school production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. He was averse to the idea of his high school's opening enrollment to girls and wrote an opinion piece for his high school paper arguing against this. Mr. Roberts attended college at Harvard University. He the first student of his high school to ever be admitted there. He had studied history and wrote a 170-page essay undergraduate thesis on the fall of the British liberalism and graduated summa cum laude in 3 years. He had entered Harvard in 1996 and became managing editor of Harvard Law Review, a position that is held by Justices Breyer and Scalia. Roberts had graduated from law school at the top of his class and began clerking for New York Court of Appeals Judge Henry Friendly in 1979. He then moved to Washington to clerk for Supreme Court Associate Justice William H. Rehnquist, whom he had eventually replaced on the bench. In law school, some of his classes began a Rehnquist club to honor the judge. However, Roberts had declined to join. Roberts was also known to have been long friends and partners. He had been known by his friends to be politically conservative and reserved. During his career, he also worked for the Justice Department as a consult to Ronald Reagan and in private practice for Washington, D.C. firm of Hogan and Hartson. In 1980, he lived in an apartment on Capitol Hill with a friend. They threw a party with 2 televisions to watch the election return for the races between President Jim Carter and Ronald Reagan. And then, 16 years later, Roberts married Miss Jane Sullivan, who was also an attorney, whom he reportedly met on a blind date. They later adopted a daughter, Josephine, and a son, John, who were born within 6 months of each other. President George H. W. Bush nominated him in 1992 to serve on the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C., but the Senate failed to vote on his nomination before the administration changed and President Bill Clinton entered office. The second President Bush nominated him again for the slot, and he was later on confirmed in 2003. One of the appeal cases he heard of and held concerned an incident where a 12-year-old girl eating French fries on the Washington Metro was handcuffed by a police. Roberts had wrote that no one is very happy about the event that led to this incident. The girl was arrested, searched, and handcuffed, all for eating a single fry on a Metro rail station. Where was I? The district court described the police's actions that led to the 12-year-old girl's arrest as foolish. The question before us, however, was whether or not the police were in the wrong because they violated the Fourth and Fifth Amendments of the Constitution. The court concluded that they did not, and accordingly we affirm. Roberts had argued 39 cases as an attorney before Supreme Court by the time President Bush nominated him in 2005, and he had won 25 of them. In his nomination day press conference with Bush, Roberts had remarked that it was a humbling moment, that he always got a lump in his throat whenever he walked down those marble steps to argue a case before the court, and that he said that he didn't think it was just from the nerves. Now then, according to his confirmation hearings, the Senate responded well to this kind of Midwestern demeanor and his promise of refocusing the court into a limited role of interpreter, not a creator of laws. And the Senate confirmed his nomination, making Roberts the youngest Chief Justice in 100 years. He remains a political pragmatist on the bench and a persona he developed for working in the executive branch under Republican leadership. Other facts about his hobbies, interests were not found. This man was a very reserved person. However, it was stated that he excelled in Latin and did well in football as well as wrestling.